There was a very interesting video on YouTube that I just saw saying that Levi's Stadium is the worst of the new $1 billion NFL stadiums. It's not exactly new. It's been there for 10 years, almost 10 years. But the video's new and it made a lot of interesting points. Did you check out the video?
I did. Iggy, I have a question about it. Who
Yes.
did the video?
I'm not sure. I should know that. But check it out search it for it on YouTube. It's terrific. I'll put it in the description later.
It was very good.
Yes.
So it's saying it's one of the worst new stadiums. I want to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's hard to be one of the worst new stadiums because they're all bad.
Yes.
You know, I'll tell you, the one in Arizona is not that bad.
No, it's not. It looks like a toaster, but it's not that bad.
It looks like a toaster. You can put a bagel in there and put an extra. Yeah, yeah.
I like the one in Seattle.
I do. Hey, I'll tell you another monstrosity. Dallas.
Yeah. Oh, it's a monstrosity. Yes.
It's a monstrosity, Iggy.
Yes, it is. But the thing about the Santa Clara one is it's not even a monstrosity. It's just like generic. It looks like scaffolding.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Let's say something. I'll go first if you don't mind. Some things that we feel it falls short. I'm going to say where it falls short. It's not in San Francisco. I mean,
it's not even close to San Francisco.
Excuse me. I know people say, well, the New York teams are in New Jersey. They're right across the Hudson River. You could swim across.
That's
and you
true.
can certainly see the Empire State Building right there.
Yep.
So don't tell me that. It's really far from San Francisco. Now, the other one, New England is very far from Boston, but they don't call themselves Boston. They call themselves New England. And a lot of the teams fly into Rhode Island.
That's true. Yeah.
Providence, Rhode Island.
That's true. Yeah.
So they don't pretend to be a Boston team. This pretends to be a San Francisco team. Whenever it's on TV, they always show the Golden Gate Bridge. Like the Golden Gate Bridge has anything to do with Santa Clara.
Yeah.
So for me, right away, it's a shanda that it's down there. And here's what I'm going to predict. After I'm dead, long after I'm dead, they're going to move back to San Francisco, and it's going to be a whole big thing. We want to bring it back to our roots. You can hear it, right, Iggy?
Oh, yeah. There's no question they're going to do that. It's a very, very unpopular stadium. What's going to happen is as more and more stadiums get built, it's going to look more and more ridiculous. Like they built this 10 years ago when it was the only new stadium in California. So they put themselves in a position to be able to host Super Bowls, which is what they want. Dad, you think they're going to ever host another Super Bowl? I don't. I mean, because now you got a state-of-the-art place in LA. You got a state-of-the-art place in Vegas. They're going to put it in Santa Clara and do that stupid thing where they had shuttling people back and forth from downtown San Francisco to Santa Clara. I predict they will never have another Super Bowl in that stadium.
I say it depends on how much juice the York family has in the league, because I think that's what's important. And I don't know how much juice they have. Okay,
I got more.
Yeah, tell me, and then I'll go.
The big one is that there's no shade in that stadium.
Right.
They took the design that they were going to do. They originally were going to have that in Candlestick. The original idea in the 90s was to build at Candlestick, and they could never work it out. They took the same design, moved it down to Santa Clara, didn't realize that it's way hotter down there. There's no shade in that stadium. And what happens is the day games, you roast like the LA Coliseum. And the thing is, the Niners were very defensive about this at first. People were complaining. People weren't even sitting out in the stands, and like privately, what members of the PR staff would say is, man, these guys are so soft out here in California. What about open air stadiums in the Carolina Panthers have an open air stadium? It's hot and humid out there. You don't hear anyone complaining out there. Well, in 2015, at a preseason game against the Broncos, a guy at Levi Stadium had a heat stroke and died. So what they do now is they don't really play day games at Levi Stadium in September anymore. They usually start off on the road, and when they come back, they have night games until later on in the year because they created this problem. So how about that?
I didn't realize that, Iggy. So they try to keep it away from, because September is so hot in the Bay Area. Yeah. So they try to keep it away.
This year they're starting in Detroit. Then they go to Philly and come back for a night game against Green Bay.
Interesting. So their home opener is the third week of the season.
Right. Absolutely. And they want it that way. And so they often will start in 2019, they had back-to-back road games to start the season as well. Same idea. Avoid this. And there's no solution, Dad. They can't put any shade. All they can do is lower the water price.
For water, for bottled water. And they can't put stuff up because the airport is so close.
Right.
They put it in a very vulnerable place. In the video, it says sometimes the pilots get a little confused by the lights over there.
That's right. So they put it in a place that was very convenient for them because it's right next to their practice facility, but it's inconvenient for everyone else. Literally everyone else.
Yeah. Also, staying with how hot it is, some of the rich people, there's private clubs at the stadium. So, Iggy, you know, we've been at games. Sometimes you look at the sunny side, there's no one there because they're in the private clubs. And they end up watching the game on television, even though they're at the stadium.
Yeah, the video made the point that the entire stadium is catered to rich people. The lower bowl is the biggest lower bowl in the NFL, which means they're trying to force you to spend a ton of money to watch the game. The upper deck is really small, which means there's not a lot, and it's completely exposed to the sun. So it's just really was built for the richest people with them in mind. And what's funny is it's not the kind of place that would appeal to the richest people like LA's Coliseum is, Dallas's Coliseum is, Vegas's Coliseum is. This place just looks like an incomplete bit of scaffolding that they're going to probably tear down in 15 years.
Another thing that I don't think we should pass over is the grass.
Oh, absolutely not.
Could you talk a little about the grass?
It's awful. It took them years to get grass that was like not a joke. For years, they had people slipping on that field, and they still do. I don't know what, but it's like the most basic thing about a football field is the grass. They can't get that right either. Apparently, the grass at Candlestick was much better.
I don't know how good the grass at Candlestick was because it used to come up in clumps. So let's not give Candlestick sucked. So let's not give it any credit. We're just talking about this state-of-the-art stadium that they can't even get the grass right, and that used to drive Harbaugh crazy.
Yes. It doesn't seem like they actually have a home field advantage. It's so hot. The people don't sit in the seats. They go inside, and it's a relatively quiet stadium. And what's funny about it is it was built after the one in Seattle. Like, how did you see the one in your division and be like, let's make one that's way worse? That's what we're going to do. And the thing that's amazing about Seattle is not only is it pretty, it is pretty. And not only is it downtown, which is nice, it's engineered to contain the noise and actually have it reverberate, which gives you more of a home field advantage. It's pretty genius, and it works. The Niners is as open as possible with gaps all around, and it just dissipates. I don't know what they were thinking.
I want to just compare it to Seattle. Iggy and I would stay at this one particular hotel downtown, which is a hell of a nice hotel. And on the morning of the Sunday game, we would walk to the stadium.
Yeah.
Past Pioneer Square. It's all downhill walk. It's really nice.
It's fun.
Even an old guy like me, it didn't make me tired. It's a downtown stadium.
Yeah.
There's little bars around there and people having a good time, as opposed to they put this thing where? It's in the middle of by railroad tracks. It's in the middle of nowhere. That just kills me.
Yeah, if you want to take public transportation from Oakland to or San Francisco to Santa Clara, what do you got to do? From Santa Clara, you got to take Caltrans. From San Francisco, you got to take Caltrans down and then transfer over to the that little light rail. Or from the East Bay, what would you have to do? You'd have to take Amtrak and then transfer over to that little. No, it's not very convenient. So yeah, I think they're going to move in about 10 to 15 years, and I just don't know where they're going to go. Haven't they already built up Candlestick again?
Oh, that's over with. Yeah,
they cannot put it at Key.
I'm going to say one other thing I don't like about it, and this is really not relevant. So this is just me kvetching. The press box.
Oh yeah.
Here's what first of all, it's a very nice press box.
It's big.
I don't want to, it's a nice eating area. Although the food is, I don't think is that good, but what do you care? But it's so high up. It's the 8th floor.
Yeah. And you're way in the end zone.
Yeah.
So like when they're at the other side of the field, it's like, I guess I'll just watch on television.
Iggy, what used to kill me, and maybe I'm wrong and maybe it's different, the best seats, the PR staff had the best seats.
No question about it. There's about
right?
Yeah, no, the PR staff has this row of seats in the press box that's like right on the 50-yard line down to the 20. And then the media has to sit in the end zone because they're less important than the PR staff.
But I'm not making that up. I
No.
still look and think they're not covering the game.
No.
I'm covering the game.
Yes.
Maddie is covering the game. Iggy's
Yes.
covering, right?
Yes.
How did these guys get there? So that's not the stadium. That's the philosophy of the team. One other thing I want to say, now that I saw it, and this person made the case that it's the worst of the new stadiums. I hadn't really thought about the topic, but it's kind of a juicy topic. And if it's true, it doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Because the Yorks, and I'm talking about John, Jed, and Denise, the Bartolo,
Jingleheimer Schmidt, yes.
they got a lot of things wrong.
They do.
And part of it may be that they're not the most generous people in the world.
No, they did. I don't understand how they spent $1.3 billion on Levi Stadium. Where'd all the money go, Dad? Where did all the money go?
I don't know.
Get it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Another thing about it, I'm not a big fan of this. The new stadiums all have a ton of glass. You notice that? Like Chase Center is just all glass.
I never will see Chase Center.
The one in the Raiders Stadium is all glass. The LA one is all glass. Maybe the Niners could use some glass because they just got that. They just got a bunch of white pipes everywhere. It looks very strange. It looks terrible. It looks really bad from the outside. I don't know what it is.
It looks like where we sit and where Olio's looks like an apartment house.
Yeah, it looks like an apartment house that hasn't been finished. NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC says, does Lowell believe in the Santa Clara curse?
I believe in the York curse.
There you go. Michael Jolly says, I'm flying in from Florida for the Packers game. I'll teach you Barrier boys about heat. It'll be a night game. But yeah, you can tell us. That was the PR staff's attitude, was like, man, these guys are so soft. Everyone's complaining. What about people in the South?
Yeah, blame the customer. You want to blame the customer.
And then a guy died. So good. Jordan Rinaldi said, is that a competitive advantage to have home games pushed off until the end of the season? Is it a competitive? Not if you start the season 0-2 because you started on the road.
Yeah, really?
I mean, you know the stats about teams that start 0-2. It's not good.